Yesterday, the CBC created fake news about us in real time out of thin air and tried to set a trap for us with the help of a far left-wing activist. We exist precisely because the CBC does this sort of garbage, and so it's a little insulting that they didn't think we would see right through their sinister little plan. Let me set the scene for you. A reporter for the CBC named Sarah Reiger called me to ask me about my Stop Notley signs as I eagerly skipped off, voter card in hand, to the curling rink to cast a ballot at the advance polls yesterday. I didn't get back to her right away because over here in the private sector, I do have deadlines and I have to be accountable to others and the company with respect to my workflow and timing and the like. And unlike the official Conservative class here in Alberta, I don't really have a lot of time to waste trying to massage the enemy for favorable coverage that will absolutely never come my way. And I don't have a lot of patience for people that I know are just contacting me in bad faith anyway. I mean, if someone has a question about my Stop Notley signs or the book or the billboard, I've done a ton of videos out there about them. Just, go look it up. But it didn't end there. Sarah Reiger then emailed me later on in the day. Here's her email. Hi, Sheila. Sarah Reiger with CBC Calgary here. I was hoping to chat with you about your Stop Notley lawn signs. I've spoken to a Calgarian who was interested in purchasing a sign, but said he was worried when he realized it was coming from an organization not registered as an advertiser with Elections Alberta. Can you respond to that concern? I know Rebel Media received a reprimand from Alberta's Elections Commissioner about political advertising a few months ago. Have you heard from the Elections Commissioner or Elections Alberta in regard to your signs? If you could please respond by end of business day today, it would be appreciated. Sarah Reiger was cordial enough, but sensing a trap and smelling BS, I thought I'd let the boss handle this one. So Ezra called her. And like any smart journalist, he recorded the call. Now, the call itself is over 4 minutes long, and in the interest of brevity for this video and not to bore you, I won't play it in its entirety. I'll just, play the most relevant portions, but in my sincere opinion, it is one of the best things I've ever heard in my entire life, and Ezra Levant should win a Grammy for this recording. Just listen.
Is that true that someone who would buy a sign actually called the CBC?
That's what he told us, yep.
Yeah. Is that person an NDP activist?
No, I asked him if he had any, affiliation with political parties. He doesn't seem to. Googled around a bit and wasn't able to, find any attachments.
Are you telling the truth, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. 'Cause it sounds like bull to me, I gotta tell you. It sounds like a pretext to write a story either defaming us or trying to spook our viewers. That's what it sounds like to me.
No, I can definitely tell you that's not the case.
Well, that's all you've been doing the last month. But listen, I respect the fact that you reached out, so I'll give you an answer. Section 44.111G2 of the Election Finances and Contributions Disclosure Act specifically exempts books in the promotion of books.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Thanks so much, Ezra, for giving me a call about this. I really appreciate it.
Ezra smelled the same trap I did. And there's a lot going on in that recording, but we can confirm the reporter says she Googled the man making the complaint. This is a relevant point that comes up after we find the man's name in her story. Ezra even followed up in an email to Reiger, confirming in writing what they had discussed, the specific sections of elections law that exempted books, and then Ezra issued her that libel warning one more time so that there was absolutely no confusion. And yet, Reiger ran the story without citing the proper law and only changed it after Ezra called her back to ask her what the hell. And we have an audio recording of that second phone call because, of course, we do. Again, the call is a few minutes long. Here's the relevant portion for your listening pleasure. Here.
Hello, Sarah here.
Sarah, it's Ezra Levant calling you back. I
Hi.
just read your article, and I don't understand why you didn't put in the very specific law that specifically exempts books and promotion of books. Why would you not put that in there?
Oh, for sure. I can definitely add that in. I did put in there that you said that it was against it.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about. I told you specifically the books and the promotion of books are specifically exempted. And you wrote this whole...
That's what I meant to say just now. Yeah, as you may have noticed, that is the headline, and I did have that information.
No, but it's not my opinion. You said it's my opinion. But I didn't give you my opinion to that effect. I quoted the exact section of the law, but you wrote this entire piece, as I knew you would because you're malicious. And you merely said it was my opinion, whereas I told you the law specifically exempts books and the promotion books. Why wouldn't you have put that in the story?
Reiger eventually did make that change, and this is her final masterpiece in the CBC right here. Boy, this is great. Let's read some of this screed together. Calgarian Kumar Jain said he's not exactly the biggest fan of NDP leader Rachel Notley. So when he spotted a sign reading stopnotley.com, he was eager to order one for himself. What he didn't notice until he received an email telling him his lawn sign would soon be ready for pickup was the sign was from Rebel Media. The sign directs people to a website promoting a book written by Alberta-based Rebel Media contributor and conservative activist Sheila Gunn Reid. It looks like elections advertising to me. I mean, who sells a book by putting out lawn signs? Jane said. You know what? I do, buddy, and it's working. And the signs say, buy the book, and the Rebel Media prominently on them. But these simple facts, well, they didn't faze the CBC. They went with the narrative that Jane was just a simple, concerned yet confused conservative tricked by evil old me and my unclear signs. Okay, sure. Now about this Kumar Jain fellow. Not that a private citizen's personal opinions should really be on my radar during the election, and he wouldn't have been on my radar whatsoever, except for the fact that I think he is a Notley supporter who colluded with the CBC to create a fake news hoax about me and my book and the company I work for by presenting himself as just a simple conservative. As a rule, I'm normally very pro leaving normal people alone, even if they disagree with me. In fact, I particularly hate when Notley and the NDP attack normal people. It's one of the very worst things that they do. Now, according to the article, Jane thinks that I'm not Albertan, which mildly annoyed me and then mildly amused me because much of the criticism I get these days is that I'm too stereotypically Albertan. How I talk, how I dress, my lifestyle, my politics, all pretty painfully Albertan. Jane told the CBC that Alberta elections should be for Albertans, and we should not have any outside interference. If they want to participate in our elections, they should register with Elections Alberta, for sure. It's pretty clear that Jane is not much of a rebel watcher and not really a Stop Notley kind of guy. Not the kind of guy who would order a sign from me. And if I'm not Albertan, then really no one is. And all that should have been a red flag for the CBC. That is, if they actually cared about the truth. Now, according to our records and an unexpected phone call Jane had with Ezra Levant, he only signed up for a sign Monday as Kumar Jain. But during that phone call, Ezra discovered this man also calls himself Adil Jain. Fun fact, we get your phone number and your email address when you sign up for a sign, which makes this guy maybe an even stupider hoaxer than Jussie Smollett. It's how we tell you where to pick up the signs. So Jane signed up for a sign and then immediately called the CBC to complain. It was a setup from the very beginning, and CBC had to have known it, especially since their reporter told Ezra she Googled the professional complainer. Now about that phone call between the boss and the hoaxer. It's also recorded, but I'll just give you the Coles Notes version. Jane told Ezra that first he was worried about elections laws, but then when the law exempting books was explained to him by Ezra, he said that then he was worried about city bylaws, which is weird because the sign would be on his own front lawn. And then Jane finally admitted that he never wanted the sign in the first place. See, That's how you do journalism, Sarah Reiger, in case you're interested. But a simple Google search was how we get to the proof of CBC malfeasance, their bad faith journalism that was evident to me from the moment they contacted me. This Jane fellow has a massive digital footprint for being a non-affiliated random citizen who just wanted a Stop Notley sign the way CBC would have you believe. It took me 30 seconds to see it. He is one of the most prolific progressive cranks who writes letters to the editor like I write grocery lists that I have ever seen in my entire life. Reiger, if she Googled him like she said she did, had to have seen these letters. In fact, there's a CBC article about Jane claiming to have been roughed up by mall security guards after he protested the circus. Jane describes himself as a longtime friend of Calgary's leftist mayor, Naheed Nenshi, and has written tens of thousands of words over the years where he is critical of the progressive conservatives, critical of the federal conservatives, critical of political cartoons that are critical of Premier Notley. He's critical of Brad Wall, critical of the UCP, critical of pipelines, critical of energy infrastructure. In one letter to the editor, he describes himself as an organizer for citizens advocating for the use of sustainable energy. You want to go on a wild internet ride? Plug Adel Jane letters to the editor into Google and stand back from your computer. We found this one gem from a letter he wrote to the Calgary Sun. We found it on Infomart. Jane has written letters to the editor in Lethbridge newspapers, Edmonton newspapers, even as far away as Winnipeg and Toronto. He doesn't focus his kookiness just on Calgary. He sort of spreads it around, which is probably a good thing for beleaguered Calgary. Yeah, he's a real Stop Notley kind of guy. Sure, CBC. And now let me tell you, I don't think CBC didn't see the fevered writings of their fake concerned conservative in Calgary. I actually don't think CBC is stupid. And I don't think they are inept. I agree with Ezra. I think they're malicious. And I also think they underestimated us, which has been a bit of a fatal flaw for a lot of progressives these days, hasn't it? Now look, I fully recognize that this is slightly silly. It's pretty comical, and absolutely nothing hinges on this fake news about the rebel. This isn't going to sway votes. It's not going to change hearts and minds about what I do around here. But I wanted to show you this because it happened in real time before my very eyes yesterday while I was trying to do my actual job to tell you the other side of the story, the side of the story people like Sarah Reiger don't want you to know and probably wouldn't be caught dead telling you in the first place. I'm telling you about this fake news hoax spectacle because CBC is upholding itself in the Alberta election as the go-to arbiter of what's real and what's fake, while faking the news themselves. From Sarah Reiger's Twitter bio, subscribe to The Scrutineer for Alberta politics and news twice weekly. And then she links to CBC's special website for The Scrutineer. CBC's The Scrutineer, interesting name for a project from an organization we just caught making things up. Looks like The Scrutineer here is the rebel, since we took a skeptical look at this entire story and then scrutinized the CBC's looseness with the facts. And from inside the CBC article about my signs, got a question about the election? Ask us. Text election to 587-857-5505 and we'll get back to you with the answer. Oh, CBC is going to answer all your questions about the election? Do you trust them? I sure as hell don't. I just experienced them making things up in real time about me while I tried to do my very real job. But this is our business model, isn't it? And so I guess I should probably thank the Sarah Reigers of the world for my job security. We exist at the Rebel precisely because CBC behaves this way. because CBC lies, because they half-ass it and phone it in as long as it makes some conservative somewhere look bad, like they're breaking the law, like they are homophobic, Islamophobic, bigoted, intolerant, etc., etc., etc. And for years and years and years, conservatives didn't have a platform or a media outlet where we could expose the CBC for what they are. They are fake news. And conservatives didn't have a lot of people who would fight back, but now they do. That's why we have over 1 million subscribers on our YouTube page and people who will honestly, happily sign up to get a StopNotley.com sign from me. And people like Sarah Riger have to panhandle from the federal government to the tune of $1.5 billion every single year just to keep the lights on. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Hey, if you're interested in one of those bold, beautiful orange StopNotley.com signs that are causing all the headaches for the fake news peddlers down at the CBC, just go to StopNotley.com. And while you're there, you can buy my book where I tell you all the news about Rachel Notley. The CBC just won't. Again, that's at StopNotley.com.